This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing actual relationships. We're glad you're with us. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Starting off this hour is Emily in Nashville. Hi, Emily. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How are you today?
Great. What's up in your world?
I'm doing good. I just have a question. I am the trustee of an estate. I've got everything liquidated but the final piece of property. And I've got a cash offer, but I'm not sure if I should take it or not.
Okay. What do you think the value of the property is appraisal?
Well, we weren't able to get an appraisal because it's commercial property.
What do you think it is worth? What do you estimate the value to be?
I don't really know because the realtors told me anywhere from $375 to $650 is what I should expect for it.
Well, so good God! You could throw a hand grenade and hit that. It's a bit of a range. What is this? What kind of property is it?
So it used to be a flea market. It's closed now, so now it's 15 and a half acres. And so it's basically, it's a little weird situation of there's not a lot of road frontage, and half of the property still has woods on it. And so it's 3.5 acres zoned commercial. 15 and a half. 15 and a half acres zoned commercial. Yes. Where is it? This is up in Ohio. Oh, okay. Okay. And so basically it's raw ground. I mean, the flea market was just, they stood up some tables and stuff, right? There is 3 structures. I've got a big barn, a storage unit building, and then a walk-through pavilion. They're all cleaned out and empty. And then, so is this zoned commercial in a metro area or what? It's not exactly metro, but it's not rural. It's like an up-and-coming area. And it's zoned commercial? Correct, yes. Okay. So what would it be used for? So if I were to buy it, it's a piece of basically raw ground. You don't need a barn on a commercial property. You're going to mow this thing down. You're going to build something in there. You're going to build a mall on that, strip mall on that. Am I going to build a transmission center? Am I going to put a fast food joint on it? What am I going to do with it? It's really whatever you'd like to do. Oh, I know that. But I mean, what do you think it's going to be used for? I mean, if I was in Ohio, I would use it for storage units myself, but we've had some developers come in and... Gotcha. Okay. All right, so you listed it for how much? We listed it $650. And what do they offer you? We're at $550 now, is what we've dropped down to, and they offered me originally $400, and I got him up to $415, but he won't come any higher. Okay, so the bottom line is we don't know. We know this is under asking, but asking was a wild guess on value. Yes. Because we really don't have anything in this conversation or in conversations you've had to establish value, right? Correct, yes. Whew.
Emily, how long has it been listed?
So when it was my grandparents' property, they've had it up and off the market for 15 years. I listed it myself in March. And I have a 6-month contract with the realtors I have right now. I'm just, part of the concern is they're dual realtors, so they're doing my side and the other side. So I don't have the most excitement that they may be giving me the best advice on if I should take this offer or not.
Okay. Tell me if I'm wrong when I say this. This is a difficult piece of property.
Yes, it's very difficult, very unique.
Limited market, limited road frontage. Your grandparents tried to sell it. Now some guy comes along and he's establishing value for whatever reason he's going to use it for. I have no idea what it's worth. in this scenario. I can't get a gauge on it based on our conversation, so it's hard for me to do this. It does feel like there is a value to getting rid of something that appears to be hard to sell. It does feel like there's a value to putting a bow on this estate and being done with it. Everybody got their money and we walk away. It doesn't sound like you're leaving $200,000 on the table. I don't believe that based on what you're telling me. Do you?
I don't think I am. I just have a hard time believing the market has shifted so much from January when I got some of the first numbers from the market analysis to now.
Well, the market analysis was 375 to 650.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a narrow range.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 6.25 to 650, well, we've actually got something that indicates value, but 375 to 650 doesn't indicate value. That's just somebody that can't find a comp, and we're guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, based on the two things I said before, I'm probably taking it because I like to simplify my life.
Okay.
But I'm not doing that because I'm assured of the value. I really don't think what you're telling me is you're leaving $200,000 on the table. You've had no offers in 15 years. Before, with Grandma trying to sell it, and now you putting it on the market, and we can't establish value, and it's an unusual piece of property in a not so booming street. It's got limited street frontage. There's just a lot here. It's a bit of a white elephant property in that sense, and so I'm probably just going to cut bait and move on to the next thing if it's me. I like simple and predictable and low risk. And would you buy this piece of property for $415,000? No. So you're going to buy it again if you don't take this. You bought it back, in a sense.
Well, is it a conflict of interest for the real estate agent to be representing both sides? Is that normal?
It's very normal. Not unusual at all, especially when it's disclosed. Because the thing is this, they've disclosed what's called a dual agency, but it's just assuming people have integrity. If you don't think your real estate agent has integrity, then you shouldn't have them anyway, no matter what. But they told her 375 to 650. That's not even. I could just make stuff up like that too, and I ain't even seen the property. I mean, it's such a range that wow, that's amazing. The real estate market is officially slowing down. And it's not a bad thing because it was so white hot that every piece of property went on the market was a dadgum auction, and that's not healthy for the market. That's not healthy economics. So it's slowing down to where the buyer demand is more attuned to seller availability, inventory supply versus demand. But demand is still greatly over supply. So if you have a traditional piece of property you're going to list, you're not going to take a beating on value. But you are going to not sell it with 85 offers over the weekend. We're already seeing that slowdown in a recession, towards a recession, or an almost recession, or whatever we're going to call this thing statistically. But the market has slowed down. Not a bad thing. You still sell a house reasonably, still buy a house reasonably.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. Guys, this Building Wealth tour that we have, our live event tour, is blown up. On Monday, we announced a sellout for Phoenix on September the 13th, and we launched the day before in Phoenix, September the 12th, as a second show, and it almost sold out half in 24 hours. So going crazy, and today we're announcing that the Sacramento event, November the 1st, is officially sold out as well. And as I told you yesterday, we can't get extra venues in these other cities, so there won't be second shows on those. So that means we have now September 12th, Phoenix available. We have Minneapolis, November 10th available, and San Antonio, November 15th available. But I'm warning you, all three of those are going to be gone shortly. So if you want tickets, quit screwing around. Go get your tickets. Now's the time. $25 tickets, or you can get a 4-pack as low as $60. And that means you can bring a whole group of friends for what you pay for pizza. This is a deal. And it's going to be George Camel, Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, and me will be taking pictures, signing books, and answering questions, doing all kinds of things. It's going to be an incredible, incredible event in these different cities, and they're red hot. The Building Wealth Tour. And get your tickets at RamseySolutions.com while the getting's good. Washington, D.C. is on the line. David's with us. Hi, David. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, David, Christina. It's great to talk with you.
You too. What's up?
So I understand why target date mutual funds are not a good idea for my retirement account because, as you explained, I'll need the money to last for 30 years past my retirement date. I think that makes a lot of sense. But my question is, would target date funds be a good idea for my kids' 529 accounts? I have a 4-year-old and a 7-week-old, and because I'll need the money for specific 4-year windows, it feels different than that 30-year timeline you always talk about. So I'm wondering what you think about that target date funds in a 529 account.
Well, so here's what happens in a target date fund. They shift the portfolio as the, quote, date arrives to be more and more conservative, as you understand, David, correct?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So the answer to the question, the math is not going to be nearly as dramatic in college as it is in retirement. Number one, because there's not as many years up to the date involved and not as many years after the date involved. Your point, this is only 4 years. Okay? So if you were to run the math and say, I stayed, by definition, if you do what we teach, being that 4 types of mutual funds are just a good growth stock mutual fund, you're a more aggressive stance doing that than doing a target date. Agreed?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and so if you stay in a more aggressive up until that 4-year mark, even at the date of the first semester, you don't cash the whole thing in. You only cash in enough to go to that semester.
Right.
And so were the market to be down, you could only cash in one semester, and even if it isn't down, you're going to ride out, and you're only going to take the money out as you need it, so you've got a 4-year spread to ride any market variations, number one, which is the reason to get more conservative, because you can't stomach the variation mathematically.
Right.
And so here, what's going to happen is you're going to make less using a target date than you will using a straight growth stock mutual fund, because you're going to earn an aggressive amount all the way up until and through the time that you take the money out. Now, the downside potentially is that the market went down and stayed down 4 years at the exact wrong time, which would be like a record event. So I didn't do that, in other words. I just bought mutual funds because of that concept right there. It comes down to timing the market, number one. Number two, the other. So you'll make less if you use the target, but you're taking less risk. Maybe.
Yeah. And congrats on the new baby. That's 7 weeks old, 4 years old. You're getting on baby step 5. These babies are going to be set up for success, especially asking these questions and really thinking about where you're investing in the portfolio.
Yeah, and to Christina's point, you know, the fact that you actually are aware of all of this and bothering is the answer to the equation, not the difference in target versus growth. The difference in target versus growth is almost two guys arguing over a cup of coffee about something. It really doesn't matter much. Okay, it'll matter some, And so what I addressed kind of was the theory, but the actual dollar change in the situation, 98% of the dollar change in the situation is because you're a good dad.
Right.
And you're addressing this. 2% is the difference between target and the difference in these two things. If you do a target or I do, is in neither case is the kid not going to go to school because of this. Because we got a stud dad who's stepping up and doing his job here and taking care of business, to your point.
Right. A lot of people with a 7-week-old are just trying to focus on how much sleep they can get. Not
well, you got that, too. Yeah. That's a fair thing to focus on, by the way. Spoken like a grandpa who keeps them occasionally. All right. Megan is in Nashville. Hi, Megan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi. How are you, Dave and Christina?
Great. What's up?
Okay, so I just graduated from undergrad debt-free, and I have about $8,000 in my emergency fund, and I'm about to start my PhD next month, and the program is fully funded, and additionally, they pay us a stipend of $35,000 a year. So essentially, I'm getting paid to pursue my degree.
Dadgum, girl.
Get it, girl.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
So I actually met you a couple of days ago. It's a PhD in the biomedical sciences at Vanderbilt. It's an interdisciplinary program the first year, and then you specialize.
Well, you're so dadgum smart, they're paying you to go there. You're amazing.
It's a good gig, yeah.
It's a fellowship
Thank
deal,
you.
huh?
What was that?
Is it a fellowship?
So the first year, I think it's just paid for by the school, and then depending on what lab you join, then those grants that go towards the research are also paying the PhD student.
What are you going to do with your life?
So as of now, I do like academia, like being a research scientist, teaching while also being a scientist at a university.
Yeah, I think that's going to be perfect.
Yeah, it sounds appealing to me right now, but there's also different things like in industry and government and all types of different jobs that you can
I was just interested what your goal was. This is very cool because you're obviously unbelievably bright. Congratulations. Very well done.
Well, thank you.
Christina, I think her purse is smarter than me. So, so their question then is what?
Okay, so after building up my emergency fund to $15,000, which is my goal right now, it seems like my next step would be to begin investing into retirement 15%. But I did meet with a SmartVestor Pro, and he recommended not to do so because I am in school and to first start investing in non-retirement account because he said it was important to keep my money liquid, especially that I'm in school.
Good answer.
I understand that this is usually the advice.
Good answer. That is usually the advice, yeah.
But for some reason, I feel like I'm in a different situation than, an undergrad student because the program's fully funded and additionally I'm being paid. So to me, it doesn't seem very different than if I were to get a job right after undergrad. So my question is once I do fully fund my emergency fund, what should I do with the leftover money that I have?
Yeah, the difference is you're a glorified intern now. When you graduate, you're going to be making bank.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not like your big girl job. I mean, so,
no.
I'm going to err on the side of safety in this case. You have so much to concentrate on to go through a PhD program. That is a rigorous process, particularly at Vandy. And you're up to the challenge. You can do it, but I don't really want you concentrating on money. I want you concentrating on finishing this PhD, and then the money will come.
Yes.
Because if you're screwing around over here with investments on the side, you got your brain half into this stuff. I'm going to stick with what the SmartVestor Pro said because he said what I told him to say, by the way, which is when you're in college, pile up cash. You are the best possible investment. Invest in yourself, even though you're not having to pay for anything here. I got that. But this is just your safety net to make sure you finish this because I can't think of anything more important than you finishing this in your world. It's a big deal.
It's good.
This is The Ramsey Show. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Drop by the Ramsey Solutions headquarters anytime you'd like. We do this radio show, this podcast, this YouTube event, whatever you want to call this thing, the Ramsey Show, for 3 hours every day from 1 to 4 Central Time. And lots of folks, as they're traveling somewhere else, drop by here on their way to whatever their destination is and just hang out for a little while, watch the show happen. And there's free coffee, homemade cookies, and we've got a whole visitor center, and the show is done on the glass, so you get to watch us do this, which is questionable, but you do get to watch it, and we don't charge you for it. So if you don't like it, we can just cut our pay in half, but either way. And in the lobby where all this happens is a stage we built when we built this building for debt-free screams. Justina is on that stage. How are you, Justina?
I am fantastic, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Where do you live?
I am from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good to have you. Now, how much debt have you paid off?
I paid off $271,819.
Goodness! And how long did this take?
38 months.
Wow.
Very long months.
And your range of income during this time?
Started at about $105,000 and went up to $187,000.
Ooh.
Just about.
Okay, what do you do for a living?
I am a physician assistant working
in
vascular
PA.
surgery. Yes.
Okay, all right. Good for you. And so based on that information, I'm going to guess and say that was student loan debt.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Had a couple little ankle biters, had some medical debt, had some personal loans, some credit cards, but $255,000 was Sally Mae's eviction notice.
So you're what, 28?
28, yes.
I'm guessing, but that's about what the numbers would tell me. Yeah, good. Good stuff. Well done. Amazing. So you came out of school, big old pile of student loans, intimidating as crud, but you've got the ability to create a big shovel as a PA, and you went after it, and you've been working your tail end off all through COVID and everything else here, and you knocked this thing out. Tell us the story. What inspired you to do that? How'd you get connected to us? What's the backdrop?
Yeah, so I actually was living in Fantasyland when I graduated. I was told by a bunch of broke people I took financial advice from that I would be fine because I was going to have a great income. So I kind of ignored the fact that I had student loans. I knew I had them. I didn't look at the number. And when I got my first paycheck as a PA, I went out to a very fancy dinner, enjoyed myself greatly. And then a couple weeks later, the interest on my student loans capitalized, and I gained about $40,000 just in interest.
Oh, nice.
And then that made me look at the balance, and when I saw that it crossed over $250,000, I went, oh, that's a problem. Yeah, it felt, honestly, that was the moment that it felt like I got punched in the stomach.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I don't know that this great, fantastic income that I worked so hard for is going to get me out of this anymore.
It scared you.
It did, very badly. And, just a few weeks after that, I had a really great paycheck and ended up cashing out a coin jar to get a tank of gas. And that was the never again moment for me. And I said, something has to change. So I, in a panic, Googled, how in the world do I pay off these student loans as fast as possible? And honestly, I was looking for the magic pill, the secret, the quick answer.
Doctor writes you a script, right?
Exactly. I wanted the quick answer, the forgiveness, whatever I could do to get them gone as fast as possible. And that's when I found a YouTube video of somebody else doing a debt-free scream who was in a very similar situation to me. And I thought, oh, that's just one off. That's just that one person. And then all of a sudden there was another and another and another. And I thought, okay, well, all these people are doing this. I can too.
Yeah. There's nothing special about them.
No.
I can do it too. That's it.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. So what kind of things did you do to get out of debt? You obviously have a great income. Was that all your primary job? Did you do side hustles? What'd that look like?
So part of that income jump is changing jobs. So I actually moved from Connecticut up to New Hampshire, so I had a job change, which helped a little bit. But I kept the job in Connecticut because the pay was very good during COVID. So I was actually commuting from New Hampshire down 2 states away for a side hustle. So I would work my regular job during the week. I would go down there on the weekends. I would work extra shifts. And then on my primary job, I was also picking up overtime, on-call shifts overnight. I was doing anywhere from 60 to 80 hours on average. My record was 127 hours in 1 week. So it was just a lot of hours.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So because all of this is right in the middle of COVID.
Yes, sir.
And so the 38-month lands right over the top of that. So sadly, that actually helped your income.
It did. There was no shortage of hours.
They desperately needed your help.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was a shortage of every type of medical personnel at that time. And so, wow.
Did your coworkers think you were kind of crazy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
They all have a touch of the doc-itis, as you like to say.
Yeah.
So nobody was doing what I was doing.
Yeah. Are you glad you did it?
Oh, yeah.
How does it feel to be free?
It's a weight off. I mean, it's indescribable, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I can breathe again.
Yeah.
I don't owe anything to anybody. Nobody's coming after me.
Yeah. If we take this 38 months and make that the beginning of that be the beginning of a 10-year period, after 10 years, you're going to be so far financially ahead of the docs who did not do this.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a $200,000 income basically with no debt.
Yep.
And you've got the ability to build wealth, the ability to be generous, the ability to make choices in your career. You're not trapped by some program. You're not trapped by some kind of golden handcuff process that's all tied to the student loan debt. You've got and every one of those things are going to cause you to go crazy. This is amazing. You did so good.
Yeah.
She's powerful.
This is incredible. This is so powerful. And especially right now, for people listening, there's so many people that are feeling anxiety about the student loan moratorium ending, and they think the same thing. I got a great job. I don't have to worry about this, about paying it off. I'm just going to carry these loans around forever. What would you tell those people?
It's the mental aspect of it. It's the fact that I can go to sleep at night and I know that I owe nothing to anybody. And bigger than that, the last couple of years has been a huge behavioral change for me. I am completely different person than I was 3 years ago.
In what way?
I am much more intentional, both with my money and with the decisions that I make in my everyday life. I mean, I think before I was kind of just floating through life and I was letting life happen to me. And now I take value in taking control over my life. It's
interesting, the empowerment part of being empowered to take over this money thing and beat this debt down tells you I can do this in other areas. It tells you I actually have more control of things than I like to think and people like to think.
Yep.
So let me ask you about something else that just popped into my head. I'm just really curious. Basically, during COVID, you were working a bizarre number of hours, and there was a period of those months where I'm guessing even you didn't know what you were running into. I mean, in a sense, you were running into a burning building every day. Because, after a while, we began to get data and we began to realize the situation and some of the stuff was overblown and there was a lot of drama on COVID. But in the early days of that, the medical professionals you had to think, I may be taking my life in my hands.
You adapt. You adapt.
But you weren't going into those situations for money. You were going to those situations because you're a healthcare professional.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I put words in your mouth, but I assume.
Yeah, that's the profession that I chose, and that's the life that I chose, and
yeah,
I love what I do.
Because a lot of
wouldn't do anything else.
There is a number of, not a lot of, I don't know what the number is, but there's a number of people in that world who just chose to not go. So, well done. We're proud of you. It's an amazing young woman. We got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires and all the other books for you. $272,000 paid off in 38 months, making $105 to $187. Justina from Manchester, New Hampshire. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free!
If I go into a hospital and I need a PA, I hope she's there. This is the Ramsey Show. Ramsey, personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. John is with us in Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, John. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave and Christina. I really appreciate you taking my call. My question is probably not typical, but I'm part of a church board that's pretty conservative and has managed to get themselves out of debt and carry no debt. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a voting period of deciding whether or not to do a church remodel, and the majority of the board is comfortable with obtaining a $1 million loan to conduct this church remodel. And obviously I'm not. I've shared my opinions. I've shared Proverbs 22:7 with them and lots of other things I've learned from you. But I was just wondering if you had any guidance on maybe trying to come up with a resolution.
Well, there's a lot of factors at play here. I've been in these situations myself a couple times. Number one, you don't and I don't believe that debt is a sin according to the Bible. I hope you don't. I don't.
No.
And
I don't.
But I also can't find a single time in Scripture God used debt to do His work. Larry Burkett used to say that there's no time in Scripture that the Amalekites had the Israelites hemmed down in getting ready to kill them off in the canyon, and so they did a bond issue. It's just not in there. They ran down to the bank and got a loan. It's not in there. There's no time. There's no positive reference to debt in Scripture. And so biblically speaking, debt is stupid, but it's not a sin. It's just dumb.
Right.
Okay? Now, you got a group of people disagree with that on your board, obviously. You've got to reconcile several different things. So you've covered that issue with them already. And again, I'll quote Larry Burkett because he's who taught me a lot of these things, especially from a Christian viewpoint or biblical viewpoint. He used to say that too often the church board looks more like the Chamber of Commerce than anything else, because it's people in the church, usually men, who are successful business people in the community. And so the pastor and the congregation looks to the successful business people to run the business and the governance of the church. And so it's not unusual for your church board to be a banker, a car dealer, an insurance agent.
Exactly right.
Or whatever on there. And the problem with that is they bring their best ideas and think that they are the truth rather than, you got a banker on there that, rather than what does Scripture say? And so where I think, and apparently you think, that Scripture ought to be the baseline, the plumb line by which we make these decisions. And so then that brings up a couple things, all right? Then that brings us down to they're going to do it anyway, right?
Right. Well, we're going to vote on it and decide.
Yeah.
We haven't voted yet.
I mean, if you can persuade enough of them to use the biblical plumb line rather than their professional training to make this analysis, which is what should be done, then you can probably talk them out of it. But a lot of times you can't. And I've been in those situations where the guys I'm arguing with are friends of mine, but they're just wrong.
Right. Exactly.
And so then you've got to decide a couple things. Number one, I would never tell someone in a congregation to leave a church just because the church took on debt. I'm vehemently against it, but again, I don't think it's a sin. I just think it's stupid. And if you leave a church every time you disagree with something the church does, you're going to be in a different church every week. Because there's always some part of church is you get to disagree. I mean, that's just just count on being upset about something. And if not, somebody will make up something to be upset about. And so the times you should leave a church is when you have lost hope in the integrity or the wisdom of the leadership. And the only time I have left the church is over that, where I've lost hope in the integrity of the leadership or I've lost hope in the path that they're on. I just cannot align with that. But it's never over a single thing it could be over a doctrinal issue or something else, but it's never over a single event. Like, okay, I left because they did this remodel. I would not tell you to do that. Right. I would, though. It would be hard for me to sit in leadership on this board if they're going to go against something that is a core tenet of my life, because I'm going to then be endorsing, in a sense, my presence. If I stay on this board, I'm going to be endorsing what I believe to be something that is very, very wrong direction. Again, it's not an integrity issue. It's not a salvation issue and that kind of thing. And I'm not telling you to resign. I'm just sharing with you where my heart is. In other words, if you were a congregate, I would just say vote against it, make your best case, and then suck it up. And if there's no other reason, no other problems with this church, it's still your church. But the fact I'm sitting on this board says that this has my name on this stupidity. And I would struggle with that. But to be very clear, though, I am not telling you to do that, John. And it's one of the reasons I don't sit on boards. I'm on 0 boards, nonprofit or otherwise. I don't sit on boards because I'm a horrible board member, because I'm right and you're wrong. I really don't have any other gear, okay? And so that's a weakness of mine and a strength of mine, and I don't want to impugn that upon you. You're probably a more reasonable person.
John, you said the church is debt-free currently, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I wanted to... Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How did they get debt-free? Is it just an older church that's never had debt, or was there any type of initiative to become debt-free?
No, they've paid off their debt, and we've been debt-free probably for a few years, and we do have some reserves. And my proposal is not to have absolutes, like Dave said. It's not, yes, we do the project, but no, we don't. How about we do the project in stages? There is a GC that proposed to the church and came up with these excuses why you don't want to do that. And I'd like to hear if Dave has an opinion, since he just finished that major project. But that was kind of my approach. And after listening to the GC, I not only wanted to take a shower, like Dave says, I wanted to wash myself with bleach too. So,
which is another problem. That guy doesn't need to be. You don't trust the guy's integrity. You don't think he's got the best interest of the client. You think he's got the best interest of his own pocket.
Right, exactly.
You're hiring the wrong guy, even if you do the rehab. That's a separate issue, one more problem. Right. But yeah, it can definitely be done in stages. Any construction project can be done in stages. Is it less convenient? Yes, it's less convenient. Is it? But if I was the leadership team, I would just go before the church and go, hey guys, this remodel is something that'll help the cause of the kingdom. We'll be able to have more people in here. We'll be able to lead more people to Christ. We'll be able to disciple them better. It's a good move spiritually for us to do this. You guys need to start writing some checks so we can do it.
Right. And I think it helps to have those people that were involved in the last initiative to pay off debt tell their stories. I was recently on my church board before we moved, and we went through a whole initiative where our church paid off debt. And then, of course, board members change out after a few years. And it was nice to have some of the older board members who had been through so much of the financials of our church and have been through, they've got the battle wounds of what it was like to, have the stress of being on a board that's not debt free and some of the challenges that comes with that.
What's the total budget on this church, John?
Right now they're seeing 400 plus.
$400,000?
No, not that. They're in the green 400,000.
No, I mean, what's the top line? What's the top line?
You mean of
your total
project?
Annual income at this church?
Oh, I don't have those exact numbers.
And you're on the board?
Yeah, I don't have them in front of me.
Is it 7 million? Is it $1 million? What is it?
No. Yeah, it probably would be $1 million, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me give you another statistic. Working with 50,000 churches, you're taking on so much debt. There's an 82% chance your pastor is going to be gone in 36 months because you're getting ready to strain this congregation. The pastor fallout with new debt within 36 months is when it's a huge amount of debt in ratio to their revenues. It's massive because you're getting ready to strain the whole system. Don't do this. Please don't let them do this. Please, you're going to mess up a whole good thing. Oh my gosh. I don't think you can stop them though. It's a runaway train. This is the Ramsey Show.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Daryl is in New York City to start off this hour. Hi, Daryl. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm good. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my wife and I, we're in contract to buy a new apartment, and we're trying to sell our old apartment, but we're having a tough time selling it. So we're kind of sitting with a couple of options in order to raise the money to do the closing. So we can either slash the price of our apartment and just take a loss on it. I have an inherited IRA from my mom that I can liquidate and pay tax on in order to fund it. And my wife has some stock options that are vesting in November that we can possibly use, but it wouldn't cover all of it. It would cover about half. So just or we can just walk away, actually, because there's a clause in the contract that would give us the ability to kind of walk away from the new apartment.
You're not going to like my answer, Daryl.
Oh, boy.
You're forcing yourself into a corner if you own 2 properties because you refused to deny yourself the new one. So either your house sells or you cut bait.
Got it.
Now,
okay.
what is your current property on the market for?
We put it on for $825.
Mm-hmm. What is it actually worth?
I mean, if I
not what would some goob give for it, but what's it actually worth?
I would say probably about $750 for being realistic about it.
Okay, so you were fishing for a sucker fish.
Yeah, there's this weird 421A abatement thing in New York City where property taxes is.
I know, but you were fishing for, it's not, even with the abatement, it's worth $750.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we're really saying is, because I won't try to sell my current property for what it's actually worth, I want to get a premium above what it's worth. Then I've got to look at, am I cashing out something and creating a taxable situation, or am I going to borrow money, or what am I going to do? Now, cut your property to what it's worth and sell the stupid thing. And if it doesn't sell, let the other one go.
Okay.
That's what I would do. But what I am just describing is very emotional. Because what I just did was I stuck a pin in your little dream and blew it up.
Yeah, and it's hard because I use my inheritance to make the deposit, so just
you're going to lose that? I thought you said you had an out in the contract.
Well, to put the deposit, when we originally bought this home, it was $150,000. I got from life insurance, and I used that as the down payment on this property.
No, you didn't do a down payment because you haven't closed on it. You mean you put up an earnest money of $150,000?
No, the property we own now. The new one we saved and put the money. We saved all our bonuses and things to put the down payment on that. I'm just talking about the one that we own now.
Wait a minute, stop. You don't have a down payment on something unless you own it. Have you already closed on the second property?
No, we haven't closed on it.
Okay, then it's not a down payment. It's an earnest money.
All the equity. Yeah, the equity that we have in this apartment is the inheritance I put in, basically, on the current one. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's separate the two for a second. You have a contract on the second deal that has a contingency in it that allows you to not close, correct?
That's right.
You would not lose your deposit on that property if that contract has that kind of contingency.
That's correct.
Okay, so you're going to get all that money back if you don't close. And you'll be living in your original property, and that is heartbreaking because your mind and your sweet tooth is already set on the new place. Agreed?
That's right.
Okay, now, what did you pay for the current property that you are living in?
$765, and then we redid the kitchen for $25,000.
Okay, so you've got almost $800 in it, but it's not worth that.
That's right.
Okay, so you're going to lose your kitchen remodel money, but you're not going to lose $150,000 by selling the same thing for $750 or $760.
Yeah, there's just a lot of fees with brokers and all that stuff, but yeah, I will walk away with something. It just won't be like what we wanted. So
what you wanted was more than it was worth.
Yeah.
So what you wanted was unrealistic.
How long have you owned your current apartment?
And we bought it in 2017, so it's been about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
What's your household income?
We're at about $530,000.
Way to go, man. You can do what you want to do. You called here and asked, so I'm obligated to answer. Number one, I wouldn't close on the deal unless the other one's gone, under any circumstances. Number two, there's a whole lot of things I'm hearing in this conversation that makes me think you impulsed your butt off on this second purchase. And now you're stuck in it, and you're emotionally stuck in it. I think it might be, likely is, wise for you to just cancel the other deal and enjoy your current $1 million property for a little while. And sit there and make $550 and pile you up a big old pile of cash. Let the value of that thing come on up a little more so you're not having to hold your nose when you sell it. Live in it another year, two, and then make a move on a much more wise, more solid footing than you're making right now. I think y'all were out wandering around one day and saw an open house and bought a house. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and especially with his income, he could probably save up to a really great position pretty quickly.
Those stock options come in. A lot of other things come in. You're forcing this. Yeah. You're forcing it. It's all over it. And it feels very impulsive, feels very, it doesn't feel like it was executed with a plan. And so I would not tell you under any circumstances to own both of these properties. So one of them has got to go. You need to get the one you're living in sold and just bite the bullet and say, that's it. I really want the other one so badly. My wife really wants the other one so badly that I'm willing to lose whatever I lose on that. And I'm out of there. And I'm going to go buy the other one And then we're going to keep making $550. We're going to get the stock options. We'll get it paid off pretty quick. You're going to be in good shape either way. But it won't hurt you to sit in this one another 18 to 24 months and look for another deal. It won't at all. It won't at all. But I never tell people to buy two houses at once, to own two houses at once. This happened. One foot on the boat, one on the dock. The dock's leaving. Your butt's going to get wet. That's what's going to happen. You're going to fall in. And that, man, I've watched that for 30 years happen over and over and over again. And you could get away with a lot of that stuff when the market was white hot and crazy. Like he listed that thing at white hot crazy prices, the auction prices, and didn't get it. Those days, as we can tell, are starting to go away. Thanks for the call. Chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career. Okay, I don't know New York City values and what they have done. I have not looked at them other than New York's expensive market. No kidding, Manhattan. But how that condo, apartment, co-op, whatever he's in there, from 2017 to now did not go up in value. I'm struggling with that. And Christina caught that. She's at the break going, why didn't that thing go up in value? So, something wrong, something different about those numbers or that situation that we didn't understand, probably. But the principle still stands. You know, in the last 2 years, you have been able to buy another house knowing that yours would sell over the weekend because the market was so white hot. If you simply put it on the market, it would begin an auction process and it would be gone with 85 offers in 5 days, right? Or four minutes or whatever. Those days appear to be gone, which I think, as I've said before, is good. And so now you've got to put a house on the market for what it's actually worth, not for what you think some sucker will give you for it. And it's probably not going to bring anything except what it's worth. And if I'm asking him this thing's worth $750, but he's going to lose money on it because he bought it for around $750 in 2017, it never went up in value. Most markets in America, a property worth $750 since 2017 has gone up $300,000 or $400,000. So there's something weird about those numbers. Christina mentioned that at the break.
Yeah, that's strange, especially with everything that's been happening in the housing market. But it is interesting seeing things turning now and it not being so white hot. I think that's probably a good thing for everything to kind of balance out. Yeah. For people to be able to actually, not have to have a panic as they buy things.
But for 27 of the 30 years that I've been on the air, if you were going to buy another property, you had to know that it was going to take some time to sell yours, and it was contingent upon, and you could enter into 2 deals if you had the money to do the down payment and qualify for the other mortgage. You could end up owning 2 properties, which what that always ends up doing is putting a strain on your finances, and then you become, on your first property, you become what's known as a motivated seller, and you will give the sucker away. That's 27 of the last 30 years. Now, again, in the last year or so, it's moving back that direction, but there's about a 2-year pocket in here where you could buy a house without a contingency on the sale of yours, knowing that you put yours up for sale, it was going to sell because everything's an auction everywhere. It's just crazy. But that unrealistic market is gone, number one, in most cases. Number two, you can't let what you can pull off in an unreasonable market become a way of doing business, because that unreasonable market was covering up for your risk, your stupidity, because you could have got caught with one foot on the boat and one on the dock. So prices aren't going down. We don't see that. Haven't seen, except for some rare market situations, individual market situations. Nationwide, we're seeing prices hold steady. All projections are that 2022, they're going to go up about 8% nationwide. They went up 18% last year and 29% the year before. And we're still seeing a shortage of inventory. So even if the recession is deeper than what it looks like it's going to be, even if the continued economic garbage out there, inflation and everything else, continues to pinch buyers' budgets, even if all that happens, we don't think we're going to see prices go down. And it's a good time to sell a house. It's not as good as it was a year ago, but it's still a good time to sell a house because there's still a shortage of inventory. It's a better time to buy a house than it was a year ago, because you don't get into one of these bidding wars and you're not competing with people that are putting in offers with no appraisal, no contingency on financing, if they're getting financing, no inspection, no nothing. We're just going to buy the house. Oh, and we're going to pay more for it than it's worth, than the appraised value. So in this market, you really need a professional real estate agent. By the way, that's true of almost any market. But you really need somebody that has done a lot of transactions, not your Uncle Harry or Uncle Larry that just got his license. Somebody done a lot of transactions. Go to RamseySolutions.com. Click endorsed local providers. These are real estate agents that do a lot of transactions that we have vetted. They're good people. They are Ramsey trusted. They know the business, and they can help you navigate all this weirdness out there and keep you from getting caught in a pinch. David is with us in L.A. Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, good. How you guys doing?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Hey, two-part question for you guys. So I graduated about 2 years ago with my undergrad in accounting and finance, and I've been working now in commercial real estate, Section 8 affordable housing as an acquisitions analyst. And I'm trying to pinpoint, whether I should go back and get my master's now or wait, and what you thought about online versus in-person, or is it just based off like the quality of the institution, like USC, UCLA, or should I get like a real estate-specific master's of science versus an MBA? I know I just threw a lot at you.
That's okay. What do you need an MBA for?
I want to be more competitive. I want to refine my skills, step into a leadership or executive position, or run my own company at some point. And also, the earning.
None of those things require an MBA.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could.
You actually think, as an analyst, you're doing analyst work, you actually think you're going to learn something getting an MBA that's going to help you analyze the properties better than you're analyzing them now?
No, that's why I knew that in the back of my head. Like, I don't think they're going to tell me anything specific to what I'm doing that's going to help me do it better.
You're just collecting merit badges.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seemed like to me. But at the same time, it does help to get you like a position, maybe like a Blackstone or like a very big like private equity firm.
Now that would be true.
They do like to see that.
That would be true.
Yeah.
With the company you're currently at,
has nothing to do with running your own business, though.
No.
So are you going to go Blackstone, or are you going to run your own business?
Well, I figured I would learn from the best, and Blackstone's really one of the biggest asset managers, and they're getting into this affordable housing space. It's kind of starting to blow up now with, rents increasing and people not making enough to be able to afford. I'm generalizing a lot. But,
I understand.
It seems to be a growing sector.
I'm just challenging your paradigm.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I'm sorry, I missed a question there. I think there was a question asked.
With the company you're currently at, is there any type of growth track for having an MBA? Have they outlined anything, that if you have an MBA, you make more money, or, you get more opportunities?
So that's a question I can bring up with my boss during our one-on-one. But I did ask if they would help compensate for it because that's obviously a big factor. They're really expensive programs, and he said he wasn't sure, and he's going to get back to me on it. But I mean, I know you can't really trust the marketing on some of these programs. Like UCLA has a FEMBA. It's a fully employed MBA program, and they say that their average starting is like 156.
I love that you asked your boss that because, a lot of times companies will offer some sort of tuition reimbursement or assistance if you're wanting to get an MBA and it helps you within that company. But I also agree with Dave, you don't necessarily need it. I think it's super important to question, where is this leading and is it necessary in my journey?
All right, let me go back a couple of steps then. Okay, number one, MBA programs are generally excellent programs. And it generally will help you with, if nothing else, it'll really enhance your strategic thought. Almost all MBA programs lean in on teaching critical thinking around strategic thought, and they do a great job. So for someone like me that's an entrepreneur, where my natural tendency is more tactical than strategic, having some MBAs around me is a really good thing. And I've got a bunch of them on our team here. I didn't hire them because they have MBAs, but I learned from them strategic thought that I didn't know. So it's good for that. You can overpay for it. Where you go to school doesn't matter. You're going to get a good lineup wherever. And no, I would not pay big money for one under any circumstances. Number two, I don't want you to think this is causing you to become successful. It might get you in the door at BlackRock. That might be real. Other than that, it's not the secret to your success. I think you probably ought to go get one, but I think you're giving it too much credit. I think you're giving it more power than it actually has. It's not the secret sauce, dude. You are.
That's good.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author and Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225 in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Chris and Susan are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Christina.
Hi, guys.
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, welcome to Nashville, where we have humidity.
Yeah.
We found that out very briefly.
Yeah, it's a different kind of heat. Yeah. So, fun. How much debt have you guys paid off?
$371,000.
Way to go. And how long did this take?
Almost 7 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
We started right around $100,000, and I would say almost tripled that.
So up to about 300.
Yeah.
Cool. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm in procurement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in food distribution, and I do HR generalist work for a tech company, and I'm a photographer.
Oh, you're busy. Okay. Wow. Way to go. Cool. So 7 years, $371,000. You pay off your house?
We paid off our house.
I'm looking at weird people. Some weirdos in the house. I love it. So what's this house worth?
This morning I looked at it, $874,000.
I love it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's all yours.
All ours.
100%.
Yeah.
Very cool. How much in your retirement accounts?
About 260.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're Baby Steps millionaires.
We are.
You did it.
We are.
How old are you two?
I'm 48.
And I'm 46.
Before you were 50.
Yes,
House
sir.
is paid for and you're millionaires.
That was our goal, Dave.
I'm so proud of y'all. Way to go, man. Living the dream.
Thank you.
Very cool. So what started this process 7 years ago? Tell us your whole story and how you got connected to Ramsey.
Yeah, we were actually gifted Financial Peace University by a former employee of yours who's here with us today, Christy Albers.
Oh, really? Christy's here?
She's she's hiding around the corner. She gifted it to us, and we honestly didn't think that we had a problem with our finances. When we looked around at our friends, we didn't have school loan debt, and so we just had a minimum of credit card debt. And so we really didn't think we were in bad shape. But then when we started the classes, we realized that we needed to have a much larger vision for our future. And when we started kind of running the numbers, we realized at our age, we didn't really have time to spare.
Oh, little wake-up call then.
Big wake-up call.
Okay. All right. So you sit down and run the numbers. You go through Financial Peace University and you say, we not only can do this, but we need to.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we actually had a lot of fun. I mean, we may be a little different than some of the folks that you have on. We had a lot of fun with it. We really enjoyed the goal setting, and we enjoyed being a little competitive with each other. Since I had my side photography business, it was kind of fun at the end of a month to sit down and throw down another $1,000 or something. And he
throw
was
down.
Yeah.
She got very lucky to marry somebody who loves spreadsheets. So
Yes.
absolutely number one.
The nerd.
He did the spreadsheets. I did 3 jobs, so you know.
It's a fair trade. It's a fair trade.
So we loved the program. We actually thrived with boundaries. I think we both learned that during the course of going through our journey. But what was really interesting is we would be making all this progress, and then all of a sudden it would feel like we hit like a roadblock, and we didn't really understand why, because we were totally in alignment with where we were going and how we were getting there. And so we'd step back and we'd look at what we were doing, and we would realize that we had missed a vital piece of your plan.
Oh.
And it may have been a small one, but it was vital. When we got married, I didn't get married, I was almost 40 years old. So I never even thought about combining our bank accounts. It's not that I was trying to be, intentionally obstinate, but it just never crossed my mind that was something that I should do. And so we would have budget meetings, and they would feel tense, and they shouldn't have, because we were completely aligned with where we were going. But then we took a step back and went, wait, we never merged our bank accounts. What are we doing? And so we would take a step back, do a course correction, and all of a sudden, grease on the wheels, we were rolling again. So we had several of those moments. And
so y'all had a pretty big income jump. Were you just working like crazy? Like, what all did you guys do to get out of debt?
It's 7 years is a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so
career.
a lot of that's career progression, right? And then Susan just working multiple jobs, and as a photographer, she's just trying to get multiple photography jobs. So she's just rocking and rolling. Like she said, she'd throw an extra $1,000 a month in and just surprise.
She gets great thrill out of traction.
Oh,
I really do.
That's awesome.
I really do. Yeah.
It is a game.
Yeah.
It is a game. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it.
What would you tell people is the key? Of all the amazing things y'all learned, all the hustling you did, what's the key to getting out of debt?
I mean, the biggest key for me was all these little course corrections that we did during the journey led to one of the biggest alignments that we had to do, not only with the Ramsey plan, but with the Lord. And that came the beginning of this year. So we were already 6 years into our journey. And in February, our church, which, if it's okay, it's Christ Church of the Valley.
Yeah, we love those guys.
Yeah. So Pastor Ashley Wooldridge, he did his annual tithing message. And he challenged all the members of the church that weren't already tithing, the full 10%, to do it for 3 months and then see what the Lord did in your life. And so Chris and I talked about it, and we had always given what we believed was quite generously to the church, but we weren't tithing. We were tipping, really, was what it came down to. We thought we were being obedient, but really,
It really put us over the edge. We were so close to paying off the house. And when I say so close, 100,000 or what, but really starting to tithe really made that jump. And if you look at the numbers, it shouldn't have worked.
Yeah,
but it did. It absolutely worked.
We decided in March to take the church up on the challenge and to finally get completely aligned with your plan, because that was another one of those. We did that class and we went, oh yeah, we give, check, but we weren't being fully obedient. And so we made the decision in March to do that, and I would say it wasn't 2 weeks later. And we originally were projected to pay off our home in October of this year.
No, next year.
No, October of next year, sorry.
Wow.
And as we made all these course corrections, we were able to speed up the progress until it was October of this year that we were going to pay off the house. And we were even so confident in that date that we submitted an application to come on the show at the end of the year and do our Scream. And then in March, when we decided to fully tithe and fully be obedient to the Lord, about 2 weeks later, Chris texted me and said, I just looked at the numbers, and we can actually do this now. And I want to be really clear that it wasn't that we started tithing and then ran into some kind of windfall.
No.
We didn't inherit money. We didn't find money. And in fact, our income may have gone down a little bit because Chris made a career change. But there was a clarity that came over us, that all of a sudden these numbers that were in all these different piles, perspective. Yeah. And so we called your team here and we said, just kidding.
Move the application up. We're coming to Nashville.
Yes. And Dawn was awesome, and she got us right in.
Very cool. Dawn's amazing. All right. Baby Steps Millionaires book for you. That's what you are. Way to go. I'm so proud of y'all. You're an amazing couple. You. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Also a Total Money Makeover book for you to give away to someone and bless them. You know the stories now. And Financial Peace University with the brand new videos in it with Dr. John Deloney and George Campbell, Rachel, and me. The best series we've ever done. So, and tell Pastor we said hello. We love that church and him as well. It's wonderful people. Count it down, guys. Chris and Susan, Mesa, Arizona, $371,000 in 7 years. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! That's incredible.
It's powerful stuff.
Woo. Man, oh man, oh man. This is the Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author. Ramsey Personality is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Article handed to us by Kelly as she's producing the show today. As sports betting grows, states tackle teenage problem gambling. With online and retail sports betting now legal in more than 30 states, the portrait of a new problem gambler is emerging: the high school student. Although the legal age for gambling is 18 to 21, depending on the state, between 60 and 80% of high school students report having gambled for money in the past year, according to the National Council on Problem Gambling. The group says the pandemic and easy access to online gambling have heightened risks for young adults. 4 to 6% of high schoolers are considered addicted to gambling, the group says. The percentage of high school students with a gambling problem is double that of adults, research has found. And as sports betting becomes pervasive in brick and mortar betting parlors, and often for anyone with a cell phone, state gambling addiction services are underfunded. Kids who have problems fall through the cracks, says the person doing the study. So it's a problem.
4 to 6%. That just blows my mind and breaks my heart.
Well, sports betting, the advertising budget for it is astronomical. Obviously, we've seen Caesar and all the other Super Bowl ads that are running and ads running around this stuff, pushing. And it's all based on a cool factor. You know, FanDuel, it's you're cool if you're sports betting because you're up on sports and you're a player, you know. And so mix those things with being a high school student, and you have a disaster on your hands. And parents that don't know what the flip your kids are doing online. What in the world, Mom and Dad? So, well, I can't monitor everything. Then don't let them. I mean, oh my gosh.
Well, this younger generation seems to have such a drive and a curiosity around money, which in many senses is good if they're wanting to join the Ramsey plan and do investing the right way. But we see so many kids getting involved with crypto and this, and it's just like there's so much confusion. It's like if we can channel that desire to learn about money and invest and build wealth into really stable methods, that's awesome. But this... Ooh.
Well, what you've got is people who are emotionally immature. They're teenagers. They're physically immature. They're teenagers. Their brains aren't fully developed. And you've got an entire generation that has never known a day without a cell phone, without a connection to the internet. That it's existed and been prevalent in their lives their entire lives. So it's very normalized. And then mix in the highly addictive behavior of gambling. Oh, and mix in ease of access and anonymity and the ability to do it in secret in a deceptive way, and you have a real recipe for disaster here.
Yeah. So what would you say a parent should do if they find out that their kid is involved with this?
Well, here's the thing we do know. We work with people who have financial problems in portions of our business, not all of our business, but we work with wealthy people and we work with people with financial problems. We know that personal finance is 80% behavior. We also, when we see the problems, we know this: 100% of addicts have financial trouble. Eventually. 100%. Because it screws up your life. It becomes your God, and it sucks all the actual available financial resources out of your life and channels them towards this destructive behavior. So we deal with addicts all the time, is what I'm saying. We're not specialists in helping people with addictions, but we deal with addicts all the time because of their money stuff. And so we watch these behaviors. The fastest growing addiction in North America right now, by far, is online porn. It is over the top. Online pornography now makes more total revenue in America than all professional sporting events combined. Football, NASCAR, baseball, basketball, add it all up, it doesn't even come close to online porn. It is blowing up. And guess who else that's affecting? The same exact age group, okay? It's affecting everyone, but this same exact age group, and all kinds of data on the problems that presents. The second fastest growing addiction in North America, gambling. See, you think when you say addiction, you think of alcohol, cocaine, crack, whatever. And they're all there. The old classic addictions are still around, without a doubt. But they're not online accessible. And these online accessible addictions are the ones that have scaled and are sneaky. And they sneak into people's lives, and they're easier to hide until they're not, until it blows up.
And they go everywhere with you.
But
like in your pocket.
I have a friend of mine who has a kid that's in his 30s, and the kid, he's like $400,000 in debt on these sports betting.
Oh, my.
Before they figured out what's going on. He's losing everything. He's lost his job. He's probably going to lose his little wife. She's about had it, and he's destroyed his life. But he got sucked into these things, and he called me up, and he's like, can you help? And I'm like, well, yeah, I can help, but you're not going to like the solutions, because my solutions are pretty brutal, because it's a pretty brutal situation. So we're going to treat him like he's a freaking addict, because, baby, he is an addict. And 100% of addicts go broke, 100% are manipulative, and 100% lie. And so it's a brutal business to get in the dust with those folk.
Yeah.
And help them, to love them well. It requires a tremendous amount of courage and strength on their part and the people that are helping them. So this is so dangerous, it's unbelievable. What would I do? I would just shut down the internet. There'd just be no access. There'd be no cell phones. It would be like, okay, what would I do to a 16-year-old who was, caught driving a car with cocaine in the trunk? I'd take away the car. If the law didn't, I would. I'd be done. Okay, you can't, apparently, you don't get that these things don't go together. You don't get to have one. And because I love you so much, I'm going to bar you from access to things that are going to kill you. And whether it's a vehicle or a cell phone or online presence or avatar or whatever it is I cut out of your dadgum life because I love you so much, because you is out of control, puppy.
Yeah.
And that's what, man.
And that is love. Even though your kid may not feel it in the moment,
they won't feel it. No.
Very upset in the moment. That's love. That's very loving.
But it's not, the problem is it's a little difficult to tell your kid not to sports bet when you are.
Ooh.
It's a little difficult to tell your kid not to do crack when you are. Well, I know what my dad does. I know what my mom does. It's a little difficult, and so because Rachel always says more is caught than taught. So if you're running a life that's character-based and isn't tied into this garbage, then it's more easily then, it's easier for you to take a stance and go, I just love you too much to let you kill yourself. I'm not going to do it because I'm still your parent. I'm still in charge. As long as you're 16 years old, you live in my house, I can take you out and make another one look just like you. We're not doing this. We're not going to live this way. That's old school parenting. I understand some of you people think that your children have freedom. They don't. They're children. It's your job to protect them from everything, including themselves. And some of you parents are wusses. You're complete wusses. And you've got to stand up and just go, no cell phones. I mean, we were talking about cell phones in general at the break, and you got little babies, and you're going, what am I going to do when my kids get to this age?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was talking to somebody recently, and they were talking about how their third grader was the only one without a cell phone. And I was like, whoa, I thought we had at least till middle school till we had to deal with that. Woo.
Nope. Yeah. So, I mean, these things are, the phone in and of itself is not evil, but it is a gateway to evil. And so if you can't keep the gate shut, then we'll just not let you hang around the gate. That's a pretty simple thing. But this is dangerous stuff right here. And really, these companies, these sports betting companies, it's on them too, because they got nothing in there to keep you from doing it. They got no blockers at all. And so somebody's going to end up with a class action lawsuit shutting old Caesar down if they don't quit screwing around with these kids. This is the Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. We're so glad you're here, America. Thank you for joining us. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author and Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. The phone number, 888-825-5225. Frank is in Tallahassee, Florida, to start off this hour. Hi, Frank. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Christina. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
How you guys doing?
Good.
I got a quick question. Me and my wife are on baby step 3. We make combined total of a little over $58 a year. We're debt-free besides our mortgage, $216K.
Wait a minute. You said baby step 3. Oh, 3. You're working on your emergency fund.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We do have an emergency fund.
So you're on baby step 4.
Yes, sir. I believe. I'm sorry. I'm getting
That's okay.
Up.
No trouble. So I'm just trying to make sure I know where you are. It's all good.
Yes, sir. Getting to it, I have a personal injury settlement that's coming in, a little over $100K, and I'm trying to find the best way where to place this money at so I don't mess it up. Now, me and my wife, we don't have a 401K or IRA. We're a little bit starting behind with that. Our jobs don't offer that. So we know, I've been doing some research and listening to you guys talk about IRA accounts and things like that. So we know we want to put some in there, but we can only put a certain amount in that account. But we're just trying to figure out what's the best way to do with the rest of the money. Or put it on the house, or we'll go from there.
So how much do you have left on your house right now? You said
216.
216. All right, so y'all are in baby steps 4 through 6, which baby step 4 is saving 15% for retirement. So I love that you're looking into an IRA and starting to figure out what you want to do with retirement savings, because that's the first place we want you to stop. Do y'all have kids?
We have 3. 2 of them are about to be seniors this year. One of them has no ambition of doing the college thing. They want to get a trade. It's like plumbing or carpentry work. One of them having a hard time in school. And the other one is my special needs daughter. And so she is thinking about just doing daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So baby step 5 is saving for your kids' college. You all have 3 kids. I'll be curious to get Dave's take on how much should go towards that. And then baby step 6 is paying off your house. So, 100K is a good amount. Dave, what do you think in terms of the split?
Now, are you healed from the injury?
No, sir. I did 20 years of construction. Now I work 2 jobs. I had 2 jobs. Now I basically have 1 now. So I'm able to work, but I'm limited to the kind of work I can do.
Okay. Do you have future surgeries on this injury or any ongoing medical bills?
No, sir.
Okay, so we don't need to allocate any of this money to the injury itself?
No, sir.
Okay, all right.
And how much do y'all have in your emergency fund right now?
A little over $17K.
Good for you.
That's awesome.
Well, you've done a really good job to this point, and you're doing a really good job because a lot of people that get a settlement check like this feel like they hit the lottery. And you instead are of being all emotional and woohoo and throwing confetti up. You're like, okay, this feels like a responsibility as much as a blessing, and you're approaching it with a lot of maturity. Way to go, good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
So, I'm with Christina. I would do a couple of Roth IRAs and set that up to where you've got automatically that $1,000 a month or so coming out. Probably doesn't have to be quite that much in the future. Out of your budget. You want to put 15% of your $60K aside, so that's not going to be quite that much. But, let's make sure we're doing Roths automatically drafted and out of your budget going forward. Kids' college, let's just say, okay, what do we need for kids' college? Let's just look at it, okay? Special needs daughters going into daycare. We don't have to worry about any funding of that, it sounds like. Probably do need to pay for some tech school for the boy that's going to be a plumber or some kind of technical training. If he would go get some community or some tech school, type certifications, it'll probably advance his career in the plumbing field, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. I think from what they're telling me, because he's a junior in high school now, that he can go to a trade school his senior year, and they'll start training him for outside work outside in the fields.
Yeah, I would just look into post high school education for his field and say, what's that going to cost? And let's set aside some money for that. Because I'm a firm believer that whether you go to college or whether you go into the trades, doesn't matter to me, but you need to get smarter than just high school. Everyone needs to do something after high school, train for something. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Because the data is there that, if you go to 2-year, 3-year diesel mechanic school, you make 6 figures, okay, in the trades. So, or you want to be a welder and you go to trade school, that's fine. But let's put that into the budget here, into this, and say, okay, we need $10,000 for this kid to do this. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to set aside $12,000 for 2 Roth IRAs. We're going to set aside, and then I'm going to look at the third one and go, okay, we're going to plan for that one maybe to go to college. And so what are we going to budget for that? And we're going to set some money aside for that. And then the rest of this I'm putting towards the house.
Yes, sir.
I'm probably also going to budget about $10,000 just to go do something fun.
Gotcha.
Sounds like you guys have been through hell. You could use a little fun.
Oh yeah, definitely that. And just so happens, I've been following your baby steps, and thank you for changing my life, my wife's life. And we just had a scare with the roof, so we're gonna have to get our roof replaced as well. But I know I have the emergency fund for that.
Well, you don't even have to use it. I can use some of that 100 and not touch it for that, if you want, because you're gonna have to turn and put the emergency fund back out of the 100 if you use it. So you might as well. But what I'm going to do with the 100 is I'm going to treat it like a monthly budget. I know that sounds weird, but I'm going to say, okay, here's 100. Now I need to give every one of those dollars an assignment. And we were just doing that here, okay? 10 for fun, 10 for plumbing, 12 for 2 Roth IRAs. We're going to get the Roth set up. See what I'm doing? I'm starting to spend this money, in a sense, on paper, like I'm doing a budget.
Yes, sir.
And so go ahead and write it out with your wife and say, okay, we're going to fix the roof, and that's going to be 6. And we're going to, this car needs to be upgraded, and that's going to be 10 or 11 or 2 or whatever it is, or not. And then the rest of it we're going to throw at the house. But if you'll go ahead and based on the baby steps and based on your household goals, give all of these dollars an assignment before the check gets there, it's a lot easier. Once it gets there, because what happens when you do that is you realize it's not that much money. When you hear $100,000, man, I remember the first time I thought somebody's going to send me $100,000, I about went crazy. I thought, that's so much money! And then once you get it, it's not. It just goes. I mean, it's just not. It sounds like it's a lot. And it is. It's more than I used, but yeah, it calms you down to give every one of these dollars an assignment before the check gets there. Don't wait till the check gets there to do it. You'll make mistakes. This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Have you noticed that the stock market is down? Well, if you looked at it, you noticed. And some people are more than just noticing. They're like stressed out, freaked out, going, oh my gosh, I'm in freak out mode. A little drama queen action going, right? Yeah, well, you need somebody in your corner when this stuff's going on that can talk you off the ledge, so to speak. You need someone to walk with you, talk with you, teach you, and that way you don't jump into the market and out of the market at exactly the wrong times, which is what your emotion will cause you to do. The data shows that the people who work with an investing professional actually end up making more money, mainly because they stay invested. And, if the investing professional doesn't do anything except keep you from cashing in at exactly the wrong times, they will make you more money than they cost, if that's all they do. And of course, they do a lot more than that. They teach you about it. You make different decisions on taxes, all kinds of things. We recommend you work with what we call a SmartVestor Pro. SmartVestor Pros are people that they're investing professionals that we have vetted, that will work with you one-on-one with the heart of a teacher. Go to RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor. You can find a list of these people that we endorse, that we recommend the Ramsey Solutions way. SmartVestor Pros are everywhere. RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Noah in Arizona. I'm about to graduate from high school. I have no credit card, and I was wondering how I can prove that I can pay my bills on time to an apartment owner to get a lease if I haven't started any major bills yet. The only bills I pay so far is car insurance. Do you have any guidance? Well, hey, Noah, good on you for thinking about that now. You sound like one of our foundation students who are getting that stuff in order early on, which is awesome. One of the biggest things they're going to want to see is your income. So I would really focus on that early on. You know, they're going to want to see a steady income history, which I know that can be hard straight out of high school. If you start working early on, maybe live somewhere with your parents for a bit and have that income history, that's great. But also look into options like having roommates. I mean, you may not qualify for an apartment straight away if you don't have that steady job and proof that you can pay. But you could always get a roommate who's got a lease and you can sign on and get a room with them.
So Noah, what's interesting is this is one of the most pervasive myths out there. It's an absolute lie. You have to have a credit score to rent an apartment. You just don't. It's a lie. You know how we know? We took one of our Ramsey personalities, got them on the phone, put it on YouTube, and they called 27 apartment complexes and said, hey, I'm moving to Nashville for my first job. I don't have anything except a job. I have never borrowed any money. I don't have any credit score. Is that okay? Can I rent an apartment there? And they're like, yeah, sure. Do I have to do anything special? Some of them said you need to put up a little larger deposit. Some of them said we need to see your W-2. We need to see a pay stub from the new job. Well, I haven't ever borrowed any money. I don't have a credit score. No problem. No problem. Out of 27, 3 of them had a problem. 3.
It's good odds.
And these were like regular apartment complexes, corporate management, corporate ownership, all this stuff. So this idea that you have to have a credit score to rent an apartment is absolute bullcrap. Now, some, yeah, that's true. It is harder to rent a car with a debit card than it is to rent an apartment with no credit score. Much harder. Much harder. So this is just one of those things that people, this mythology that people tell, we used to call it in the legal world, they call it street law. Everybody thinks they know what the law is because they heard something one time on Matlock, and they don't know anything about the law, but everybody then starts to believe this myth, this lie, and it's spread around. Here's the thing, Noah, call 20 apartment complexes and prove me wrong. You're going to find 3 of them won't let you in, and 17 of them will. Some of them want a higher deposit. They all want what Christina said, they want proof of income. They just want to know you can pay the bill. If apartment complexes never rented to young people doing their first job, they'd have no customers. Old people that have been on the job 25 years are not in apartment complexes, people, most of the time. They're not the primary customer anyway, okay? So I kind of believed it. And then Anthony O'Neill, that used to be one of our personalities, sat down, dialed the phone, and the YouTube of him dialing that phone, nope. It's humorous. It's so ridiculous. And because it's one of these things that's just widely believed to be true that is an absolute lie. That's humorous to me. That it's the emperor has no clothes thing. We all believe that it's this way, and we're afraid to say out loud that it's not until you prove them with actual data. And so, just amazing.
So let that myth be busted.
There we go. Pop that puppy. All right, Brittany's with us. Brittany's in Cincinnati. How are you, Brittany?
I am better than I deserve, Dave.
Good. How can we help?
I am calling to ask if we should pull from the emergency fund to help pay off our house.
Is it an emergency?
No.
Well, why is it called an emergency fund then?
Exactly. So we were a little bit hesitant because we received an inheritance check. And with that check and what we have in our checking and our savings, including the emergency, we could pay off our house in full.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how much do you owe on your house?
After August, we will owe $61,000.
And how much was the inheritance check?
$25,000.
Okay, and how much do you have in your emergency fund?
We have in that account $20,000, but only $12,000 earmarked for emergency.
Okay, so you have a $12,000 emergency fund.
Yeah, and then in our checking accounts, we have $20,000.
Okay. Well, the $20,000 from your checking and the $8,000 that is not earmarked as an emergency fund are not in this discussion. That's all going towards the house, right? That gets you there, though, doesn't it? Almost.
Almost. Yeah.
And then what's your household income?
A little over $76,000.
Yeah. Well, we do not recommend you go below the 12, which is your emergency fund. So the answer is no, we don't use your emergency fund to pay off your house. Now, if you had an emergency fund that was 3 to 6 months of expenses and you were on the 6-month side and you wanted to cheat back to the 3-month side for a little bit, and that would do it, but that won't do it here, number one. Number two, your emergency fund's not huge. $12,000 is not huge.
Yeah, we're very frugal.
Yeah. So $12,000's good. I'm happy with that, but I wouldn't go below that.
Okay. So
what do you think, Christina?
Take our time.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you want to pay off the house, and I think that's awesome to be in baby step 7. But I think I would just take it a little bit slower to stay safe. I wouldn't jeopardize the emergency fund because, again, you could be have a roof problem or a leak, and then all of a sudden you're in a whole nother different issue. So I love keep the gas on the pedal and keep going forward, but just maybe slow it down just a tad bit so that you can.
How much was the inheritance again?
Well, we've had several portions, but this time was $25,000.
Okay. All right. So you have $53,000 if you don't touch the 12, and you need 61.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're within $8,000, and you make $70,000. So you're going to pay off the house by the first of the year anyway, give or take.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, we're not going below the emergency fund. Because all it does is it takes about 6 months off this process, and you're within reach. If you got something else you can sell that you want to pay off the house, I'm okay with that. But I'm not going into the emergency fund. Let me tell you what: when you mess with your emergency fund for something that's not an emergency, it's sending an engraved invitation to Murphy, saying, "Murphy, come screw with my life," because he will. He's standing there ready to come, and you just open the Murphy gate and let him in. Don't do that. This is the Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host. Teresa is with us from Lincoln, Nebraska, on the debt-free stage. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Bit of a haul from Lincoln to Nashville.
It was a long drive.
Well, welcome. How much debt did you pay off?
$46,303.
Way to go. And how long did this take you?
13 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
Started at $39,000 and went to $79,000.
Wow. Very cool. What kind of debt was the 46?
I had student loans, a car loan, credit card debt, everything.
You were kind of normal.
A little bit.
So what happened and made you weird? You got lined up on this Ramsey stuff. Tell us the story.
So I actually met my current boyfriend, and we went on our first date. And yes, we did talk about money.
He's a real romantic, isn't he?
It was natural. He asked me, though, what my goal was for debt, and I told him I wanted to be debt-free before I was 30. At the time, I was 25. I was about to turn 26. And he was like, okay, yeah. He told me about you, told me how he came on here 2 years ago. He did his scream.
Oh.
He's debt-free, told me his life. And I was like, okay,
this guy's debt-free. He's kind of attractive.
Yeah, exactly. It processed. A couple weeks later, he gifted me the Total Money Makeover. Read it in 2 days.
He is subtle as a brick through a window, isn't he?
Once he gifted it, I read it, it clicked, and I was like, nope, I've got to do this. So I started hustling. I sold a truck I had. I had a 77 Chevy that I sold. It was my baby, and I told him, I will never sell this truck. I'll never get rid of this. This is not going anywhere.
What did it sell for?
$4,500. It was hard. I still, to this day, I'm like, I'm getting that thing back. One day. I had a car. I sold that. I think that's when he took me seriously, that I was serious about getting out of debt at that point, because he was like, wow, she sold her truck. I told him I'm never selling this thing. Finally sold my truck, sold my car. After that, I started hustling. Just started working before work, full-time job, after work. And after that, once I got into it, it was a competition, and I couldn't stop with myself. I was like, oh, I'm going to beat this 17 months. I'm going to beat this 15 months. I'm going to beat it even more than that. And I just kept going and going and going. And then once I got done, it was like, I'm done? Really?
Man, I love that. I was going to ask you what was the hardest part, but it sounds like the truck.
The truck was hard, yes, in the beginning, but just continually going was really hard for me. After so long, you're just like, I'm so tired. I'm tired of working 15, 16.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a compliance analyst for an energy company.
So you had extra hours doing that, or you picked up side gigs?
Side gigs.
What was the best paying side hustle?
Probably grocery delivery. Yeah, I did it all. I think I had 8 of them at one point in time. But everything I could.
I'm not afraid of hard work, are you?
Nope.
And you did this pretty quick, too. 13 months. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think when I started, it was 16 months, and I was like, nope, can't do that. And my original goal was 11, but I blew a tranny in my car, so I had to get another car, and just a bunch of stuff happened, medical bills and other things piled on top of that. So
you're working like crazy, you're selling things like crazy. Did people think you were crazy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People kept asking me, why are you working so much? Why are you doing this? What are you doing? Why? And it just was clear to me. I understood why I wanted that lifestyle. I was sick and tired of constantly making payments, not being able to make those payments, or only having, $50 at the end of the day to go and get groceries. I was just tired of that lifestyle. I didn't want to do it. And now, when I blew that transmission in that car, before that would have been the end of the world. I would have been crying and everywhere. I still remember that day. I called him and I was like, just blew the tranny. He's like, what? And we were like, okay, we'll figure it out. And I was like, all right, yeah, it's cool. We'll get a new car. Yeah. In a matter of moments, we had another one lined up and ready to go. And it was like, I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to have that freedom to not stress and not have to put yourself backwards and use a credit card to do it or get a loan to do it as well.
Yeah, because it goes from being like this life-altering emergency to an inconvenience. It's like, oh man, that's unfortunate, but we can afford this.
Yep.
So for somebody who's on the fence, who's thinking about starting the baby steps, who has a lot of debt, what would you tell them right now?
Figure out your why and what motivates you, and push to get to that goal. I'm a little bit competitive.
Go on a date with somebody that went through Financial Peace University.
Or that.
That works too.
But hey, I got FPU on my own. I went through it all. I watched them religiously, took notes. I'm a note person.
Wow.
So I did that on my own after he gave me the book. And after that, it just clicked in my mind, and I was like, man, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm working too hard to be living this stressful, you know?
You're amazing. Well done, girl. You got after it. I love it. So proud of you. So you got out of debt by 26. Is that what you said?
No.
27?
Just would have turned 27.
Okay. All right. Way to go.
Just shy.
Not even 30 years old, though.
Nope. Beat that goal.
And you are free. You are free. Which, previously you thought you were just going to be there your whole life.
Yeah, I've honestly never lived a life of not having debt.
Yeah.
This is the first, and I have never felt more free. You know, coming up here, I would have been super stressed about, oh, let's go out to eat. No. Like, we got to stick to this budget. We're on a trip. We're still on a budget, though. I mean, we're on a budget, but we're still having fun. We're still being able to go and do what we want. We swipe the card or debit card or cash when we go to dinner or whatever we do. So I love that feeling. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I would never go back to that.
Completely in control, instead of out of control and don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
The ambient anxiety that just hangs in the air around you when you don't have a plan and you're not executing. Even when you're not out of debt yet, once you got the plan, the anxiety drops off.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just like, game on. Like when the transmission hit and all that. It's the same thing. It's just game on, game on, game on, game on. So this is your biggest cheerleader, I assume, him?
This was my biggest cheerleader, yep.
Okay.
My mom and my sister were extremely supportive. They're listening right now.
Okay. Did they think you were crazy, or they still supported you, or they thought, yeah, finally she's going to do this?
I think they thought I was a little bit crazy for how much I was working, and you need to slow down. But at the end of the day, they knew exactly why I was doing it too. You know, just to have that freedom. My stress levels, my anxiety levels, it's like to a healthy rate now.
Yeah.
You know, not where I was at, where I couldn't. You know, it was really big struggle. And right before I happened to do this, I moved into my own apartment again. I was, going through some crazy time in life, and it was just, I couldn't even afford. I mean, at the end of that month, I think I had like $50 for groceries. So it was like doing what I could with friends to try and, like, hey, I'll babysit your kids, but then that means I get a meal or something. So I'm not having to stress about the money. And now it's like, I don't even stress about it at all.
Yeah.
I bet they are so proud of you. You are a walking, breathing example. That is awesome.
Yeah, very well done. You're a rock star. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Excellent job. All right, now that you've done it, what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Don't give up. Just keep going. You know why you're doing it. You know what you want.
What was the low point when you almost gave up?
Oh, I think it was probably like the last final months. It was just that point where I was like, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I was sleeping minimal hours because I was working like crazy, and it was just that hard internal drive to not, I couldn't stop. I knew I couldn't stop, but I didn't want to keep going either. But I knew I didn't want to be in debt. So it was like, choose your hard. What's your hard going to be?
Yeah.
Either work or, do your fun and whatever. But at the end of the day, going through and having fun didn't make me happy because I knew I was doing it on debt, or it was going to catch up to me later on. So getting that out of the way, it was just...
Yeah. There's your lock
freedom.
for now. Choose your heart.
I love that.
You're going to have one. Choose it. Got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. That's the next chapter in your story. You're going to be one. No question about it in my mind. A copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away. Maybe some of those naysayers need some help. And a Financial Peace University membership as well. And you've been through it, but maybe you can give that away and help somebody. Cool. Very proud of you, Charissa.
Thank
Lincoln,
you.
Nebraska, $46,000 paid off in 13 months, making $39 to $79. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt free!
Yeah! This is how it's done! Whoop, 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 whoop! And not even 30. Boom! This is the Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Romans 12:13. Take a constant interest in the needs of God's beloved people and respond by helping them, and eagerly welcome people as guests into your home. Robert Louis Stevenson said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Jackie is with us in Honolulu. Hi, Jackie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello, how are y'all?
Better than we deserve. What's up in your world?
Well, me and my husband, we're doing good. I just have a question as to where to put the savings that we have. Maybe you guys can help us out. We have combined $47K in debt, and also we are planning an actual wedding next year. In wedding and honeymoon, we want to spend no more than $10K. I have saved up $19K that I've had since before we got together, and I want to put that towards our debt. But my husband thinks that we should put it towards the wedding and then just keep the remaining as an emergency fund. So we're kind of debating as to where to put the money, and I just wanted to see if you guys can give us some advice. What's your household income going to be after you're married? Well, we got married in court, so we're together now. We both got a promotion, so together we're going to make $170K. You got married what? We've been married for 10 months, but it was only a court wedding. So we want to have an actual wedding next year that our family can be there because our parents were sick, so they weren't able to be there. Gotcha. So you want to have a celebration, but you're married. Yeah, and I want to get married to church because I'm Catholic, so I still have to do that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, so now what is your household income today then? Together is $170K. $170,000. Wow, you make a lot of money to be this broke. Well, I mean, I technically didn't really have much debt, but now we're married, so it's ours. Mm-hmm.
And you're wanting to know which order to pay off the debt? Is that the question?
Yeah, because I have $19K in savings, and I wanted to pay off my car, and that will leave me $5K. But now with him, he has $33K in debt, motorcycle and student loans, and we also have a wedding coming up. When is the wedding celebration planned? It's planned for next year in September. This coming September or a year from September? A year from now, so 2023 September. So you have a lot of time to save for that wedding.
Well, and especially with that income. Yeah, especially with that income, I think you can knock out the debt well before the wedding. And in terms of what order, we recommend the debt snowball, which is where you list your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rates, and you start paying on that smallest debt with aggression. You want to pour everything into that while paying minimum payments on the rest. And then you're going to pay that off, and then you're going to take the payment from that and pay off the next debt and put all of your aggression into that next debt, and it kind of builds up like a snowball rolling downhill. So yeah, definitely starting with that smallest debt is where we want you.
So Jackie, let's talk to him about this. Let me throw out some numbers to you. If I got these right, tell me if I got them right. Okay, you have $47,000 in debt, and you need $10,000 for a wedding. That's $57,000. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you had a wedding in September, 14 months from now, and you were debt-free, we need $57,000 to do those two things 14 months from now. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Okay. You have $20,000, 19.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you only need $37,000 in 14 months while making $170,000. I mean, really? I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would take all but $1,000 of the 19. Baby step 1, we teach a thing called the baby steps. Baby step 1 is $1,000 saved. Baby step 2 is pay off all of your debts, smallest to largest. So I'm going to put $18,000 on the $47,000 worth of debt tomorrow, tonight, on the computer, whatever we do, okay? I'm going to get on a written budget, and the two of you are going to be on beans and rice and beans, no eating out, no vacations, no frills. We're getting out of debt, and we're saving for a wedding. And if you can't save or move $37,000 out of $170 in 14 months, something's wrong with you people.
Yeah. No,
really, I mean, that leaves you $130,000 to live on.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii is expensive, but
come on,
you can get out of it.
Come on, $130,000?
I want to get a house.
You can't live on $130,000?
No, yeah, we can.
Okay. That leaves you $40,000 to pay off debt, and you'll be debt-free. Easy. That's like a hot knife through butter, kiddo.
Well, and it's just for a season, too.
It's not forever. It's just for this one little period of time. So the point is you can be debt-free and have the money for the wedding easily by 1 year from September, especially given we got $18,000 to throw at it. Now, I don't know if you all are going to do that or not, because it sounds like you guys are just kind of sniffing around the edges of this stuff. You haven't decided who you want to be yet, and for sure he doesn't want to do it. So you guys got to decide, do we want to be debt-free? Because here's the point. You can be debt-free and have a wedding for $10,000 in September of 23. It's only a question of if you will. Mathematically, we're all agreeing right now it's possible. And it is what you should do. So we know what you should do. We know what you can do. The only thing we don't know is what you will do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of using the savings, but, you know, he was telling me we should keep them for the wedding in an emergency.
Where were you in the last 5 minutes?
I mean, I don't know. I want to pay it off.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a wedding gift for your court wedding. And we'll see if it sticks for your Catholic wedding. I'm going to send you a copy of the Total Money Makeover. You and hubby read that thing, and you're going to start to figure out that I'm right, okay? You cannot save money at $19,000 while you have a car debt and all this other debt, and your money's making 0.5% in the bank and get ahead. You make $170,000. You spend money like you're in Congress. You're going to have to get this in control. And until you do, you're going to live a life of regret. And you're going to wake up with a financial hangover, and you're going to feel like you live in chaos and anxiety to anxiety to anxiety like you do right now. And that's why you called me, Jackie. That's why you call me. You call me for that. You call Christina because she's nice.
Well, Jackie, I was going to say, too, like, I would encourage y'all to go on a date and talk about your why. It seems like right now paying off the debt doesn't seem like a super huge priority. But like we said earlier, it's just a season. Like, if you can get through this season and have a so that, I think you'll see that it's worthwhile. This isn't going to be forever. You said you want to get a house and there's different things you want to do, but dream up what that looks like and think about how's it going to feel to be debt-free. We had that debt-free scream earlier, and she said the thing that kept her going was her why. So live in that for a little bit. Think of what it is and think of how it'll feel and how good it's going to feel.
The shortest distance between where you are right now and wealth is to get on a plan, learn to work together, and clear this debt so that you've got the $170,000. You make a wonderful income. It'd be a shame to get to the end of your life, have made this kind of money, and have absolutely nothing to show for it. That'd be a shame. Don't do that. Don't live that life. So you're gonna get a sense of pride, a sense of empowerment, a sense of togetherness when you're working towards a shared goal, like Christina's talking about, a big why, because I think you could be very, very wealthy in 5 to 7 years if you'll get your crap together. But not with the conversation I'm having with you right now. You're just a dog chasing its tail right now. I mean, you're just back and forth. Man, maybe we need to save a little. Man, listen, the deal is we teach this stuff. We've taught it to 10 million people. This works. We've made more millionaires than anybody you've ever talked to. And that's why the latest best-selling book is Baby Steps Millionaires, because we show you how to do it. Now, kiddo, you can do this. We just looked at the numbers. The only question is, will you? That's the only question remaining. You should and you can, but will you? Hang on. Austin will pick up and we'll give you a book. Christina, good hour. Well done. Well done to Kelly, to Andrew, to Zach, to Ben, to Austin, the team in the booth. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.